Classes are canceled for thousands of students at Capilano University this morning. Instructors are on strike and are picketing the university's campuses. Greg Harper is live in North Vancouver with more this morning. Greg.
Good morning, Kyle. Instructors have walked off the job here this morning in North Vancouver at the campus in Squamish and the Sunshine Coast as well. What's happening here right behind me is media is setting up. That we will be hearing from the faculty shortly, but first we are going to hear from the university, and it looks like we have some other union members here as well. This is Richard Gale, VP of Academics here at the university. You can't speak specifically to this labor dispute, but you can speak to how this may impact students. First off, how many students are impacted by this?
So the students registered for this term is just under 7,000 students on all three campuses. They are impacted in terms of not being able to attend classes today and tomorrow, but this is the end of the term, so it's only those 2 days of classes that they're going to be missed.
What about final exams? They are supposed to start on Monday. What happens if the picket line is still up? Because I overheard a teacher this morning informing a student, hey, just to let you know you can go in there, but you are crossing the picket line if you do.
So last night we sent a message to all students via email, campus email from the registrar's office, informing them of the situation in terms of the strike, that the CFA had set up a picket line and that they were not required to cross it, that the classes had been canceled for Thursday and Friday. We also told them that we're hoping that we can still reach a settlement. We're hoping that we're close enough to be able to come to some agreement before the end of the week, and as a result of that, we are continuing to schedule final exams as expected on Monday.
But if no settlement is reached, and here we are on Monday, what does that mean for final exams?
We're going to make a decision by Friday what we're going to do about final exams. There are a lot of other precedents with other BC institutions. Many options are available for finals and for the posting of final grades. Our number one priority is that students will complete the term and students will receive grades.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully this is a labor dispute that gets resolved soon, because thousands of students right now are impacted. Kyle?
Indeed. Greg Harper live this morning in North Vancouver. Thanks for that, Greg. Well, a jealous aunt is being blamed for a troubling and very unusual story out of Richmond. RCMP say the woman has been convicted of aggravated assault. The 30-year-old put super glue in the ears of her 7-week-old nephew. When he wouldn't stop crying, the boy's parents rushed him to hospital, where a doctor discovered the glue. Painstaking surgery was needed to get it out. Police say the aunt was envious because she doesn't have any male children.
This type of crime won't be tolerated here in Canada. The police will investigate these matters to the fullest of their capabilities.
By the way, the aunt was sentenced to 4 months in prison and received 2 years of probation. Well, a parking lot and the businesses surrounding it are the focus of Vancouver's 6th homicide of the year. On Friday evening, police responded to a report of an unconscious man in a parking lot at Kingsway in Inverness. The 57-year-old was taken to hospital with a major head injury, which he later died from. Investigators think he was attacked in connection with an altercation at a nearby pool hall.
Our investigators are going over some video that was seized in the area, as well as speaking with witnesses to determine exactly what happened. We are still working to piece it together as far as what took place in that parking lot.
Well, BC Seniors Advocate has some big concerns about the province's elderly population being over-medicated. In particular, Isabel McKenzie is concerned by the over-prescribing of antipsychotic drugs to make seniors at care homes more passive. She's also found antidepressants being used far too often. McKenzie blames a lack of staff and poor training at care homes. She also says many elderly people, up to 15% of them, shouldn't even be in the facilities, as many are still capable of living at home.
I think the last thing British Columbians want to think about is that their beloved parent or elder relative are sitting somewhere in a hallway immobile and over-medicated, and yet in fact that's exactly what we've seen from this report. And I think that British Columbians are very disappointed to think that that's how their seniors are being treated.
McKenzie's report also finds just 12% of seniors in BC are getting physiotherapy and recreational therapy. That number is much smaller than those in Ontario and Alberta. Day 2 of the trial for suspended Senator Mike Duffy is now underway in Ottawa. The first witnesses for the prosecution are expected to testify at the proceedings today. Duffy faces a number of charges, including fraud, bribery, and breach of trust. He denies any wrongdoing. Prime Minister Stephen Harper says he won't be called to testify at the trial. He denies knowing anything about a $90,000 check written by his former chief of staff to cover Mike Duffy's expenses.
As you know, investigators looked at this and affirmed what I said. I have no knowledge of these things. I will not be called as a witness. We have offered the Crown every possible assistance in their case against Mr. Duffy, and we'll continue to do so. Obviously, beyond that, this matter is before the courts, and I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the proceedings.